Tonight, as we come on the air, murder suspect Bryan Kohberger appears to be accepting a plea deal. What we're learning about the 30-year-old suspect accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students. With the death penalty on the table, why now, and what does this mean for Kohberger and how the victims' families are reacting tonight? The deadly Idaho ambush, law enforcement identifying the 20-year-old suspect who killed 2 firefighters and injured a third. The suspect found dead after an hours-long standoff as first responders hid behind trees and fire trucks. Did the gunman want to be a firefighter? What his family is telling us. Also breaking tonight, the ground stop and delays hitting major airports, the holiday week headache leading to delays and cancellations. What does this mean for your July 4th travel? The Diddy verdict watch. Jury deliberations now underway for Sean Diddy Combs after 7 weeks of trial. Already a wild card from the jury. What it means for the case. The miracle at sea, a little girl falling off a Disney cruise ship. The man who jumped in to save her. The rescue all caught on camera. The man overboard call that alerted everyone of the emergency in the water. The battle on Capitol Hill over the president's big, beautiful bill. Democrats trying to sink it. Why they may have just gotten help from Elon Musk, now calling the GOP the Porky Pig Party. Gone in a flash, Caitlin Clark now dominating sneakers, her new Nike shoes selling out as the WNBA announces their expansion to add 3 new teams by 2030. Is your city on the list? And go get an engineer. We'll take you to the pitch for maybe the worst game of soccer on the planet. The face plants, headbutts, and pile-ups. Why this could be the future of AI sports.
This is NBC Nightly News with Tom Yamas.
And good evening. We come on the air tonight with major breaking news. Bryan Kohberger, charged in the death of 4 college students in Moscow, Idaho, appears to have accepted a plea deal. It comes just weeks ahead of what would have been one of the most closely watched murder trials in years. And Kohberger was likely to face the death penalty. Let's get right to Stephanie Gosk. And Stephanie, tell us what we know. I know this news just came in.
Yeah, well, first and foremost here, Tom, this means that there would not be a trial if this goes forward. And we have been speaking to the attorney for the Kaylee Gonzalez's family. And the attorney tells us that it appears to be that there is a plea deal struck. Now, the Gonzalez family almost immediately put out a post on Facebook, and I'm going to read it to you because they are not happy. They wrote this: "It's true," meaning this apparent plea deal. "We are beyond furious at the state of Idaho. They have failed us. Please give us some time. This was very unexpected." So you have to wonder if it was unexpected for them. Was it unexpected for the other families?
There was a lot of evidence here prosecutors felt was against Kohberger in this case. Do we know, and you've been very careful in the way we word this, because it's not a done deal until it's done. Explain that.
So they have to do this in front of a judge. It has to go to court. There has to be a hearing, and the judge will ask Bryan Kohberger if he agrees with it, and then it becomes official. As you mentioned, there is a lot of evidence against him, including DNA found at the scene, a knife sheath found at the scene, and the car, suspected car, the same one that he drove.
This happened back in 2022. There had not been a murder in that area since, I think, 2015, and it was so hard on these families. You can't imagine what they were going through. Yeah,
incredibly hard. And you also remember there was a period of time where they were worried that there was a killer on the loose. And you remember those university students were also terrified for a period of time. This would be a very surprising way for all of us to wrap up, Tom.
All right. Stephanie Gosk on that breaking news. Stephanie, we thank you. Now to another major story out of Idaho as well. 2 firefighters are dead and another is in the hospital after a standoff that played out for hours. Radio traffic revealing the desperate pleas for help. But what law enforcement hasn't figured out yet is why. Here's Liz Kreutz.
Tonight, Idaho authorities identifying 20-year-old Wes Valroli as the suspect they say deliberately ignited a brush fire before then shooting at responding firefighters in a violent ambush attack.
We do have some social media presence. Here's some of his social media postings that were recently removed from social media. We have not been able to find any manifesto.
The sheriff saying Rowley was found dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound after an hours-long standoff Sunday at a popular hiking and recreation area in Coeur d'Alene, with more than 300 law enforcement personnel, including the FBI, responding.
Everybody shot up here. Law enforcement, code 3 now up here.
Authorities saying firefighter engineer Dave Tisdale was injured and 2 battalion chiefs were killed. John Morrison and Frank Harwood, a 17-year veteran of Kootenai County Fire and Rescue.
This is an unimaginable tragedy. A husband, a father, a champion of the fire service, somebody who cared about his people.
Fire Chief Christopher Way says 20 local firefighters responded to the initial call, describing the harrowing moments after the suspect opened fire.
Some hid behind trees in wooded areas. Some actually climbed up higher on the mountain. I know one crew hid behind a fire truck for protection.
It's terrifying.
Very terrifying.
Tonight, authorities say they're still trying to piece together a motive. Rolly's grandfather telling NBC News that something must have snapped for his grandson to commit this crime, saying Rolly had been in contact with the fire department for a job and that he wanted to be part of a team that he sort of idolized, adding maybe he got rejected or something. Do you believe that the suspect potentially wanting to be a firefighter was a motive here?
You know, we just don't know. That is certainly a dynamic that we're looking into.
Tonight, this tight-knit town left shaken and searching for answers as they step up to support their heroic first responders.
What is so shocking about something like this happening? You never think it's going to in your town?
Liz Kreutz joins us now. And Liz, what else are we learning about the suspect?
Yeah, well, Tom, tonight, law enforcement officials are saying they've had 5 interactions with Rolly in Idaho prior to this for trespassing and for welfare checks. They say he has no criminal history, though, and it's still unclear why he did this, Tom.
We want to turn out to some other developing news. Up and down the busiest travel corridor in the country, departure boards are lighting up red with hours and hours of delays as storms move in. Tom Costello is live in the epicenter at Newark Airport with the busiest travel day tomorrow. Tom, what do you know?
Well, that's the problem. This is a very busy summer travel week. Take a look at the lines behind me. This is Newark. We've got lines going all the way this way and all the way past the camera, the entire length of the terminal here, with ground stops in effect at Newark Airport, also at LaGuardia Airport, as well as Philadelphia in a ground stop right now. JFK right now in a ground delay. Houston has been dealing with some of this issue today, but for the most part, that seems to be now lightening up ever so slightly. It's because of the weather. Volatile summer storms here, likely to move for the next few hours. Again, a very rough week for that to happen with such a busy July 4th travel period, Tom.
Yeah, not the way you want to start out this week. All right, Tom Costello, we appreciate that. We want to turn now to that heart-stopping scene at sea after a child went overboard from a Disney cruise ship and a man jumped in to save her. Shocked passengers filming the race to rescue them, including the moment they were pulled from the water. Here's George Solis.
This dramatic video shows rescue boats racing towards a man and child desperately treading water in the middle of the ocean.
Can you see him? Yeah, look.
After passengers say the child fell overboard from the Disney Dream cruise ship and the man jumped in to save her.
You could see all the staff running to the port side. They got their life jackets and rings, and everybody was looking in the water.
The cruise ship making a U-turn, according to stunned passengers who watched from aboard.
It was horrific.
Applause and cheers erupting when crew members hoisted the pair to safety and brought them back to the ship.
Everyone cheered. It was a good moment.
It happened Sunday as the ship was sailing from the Bahamas back to Fort Lauderdale.
Passengers say the fall occurred somewhere along the fourth deck, just below the yellow boats you see here. Passengers say they also heard loudspeaker warnings of Mr. Bob, emergency code for man overboard.
It's unclear how the child ended up in the water.
It was so scary. It was like, how did she fall?
In a statement to NBC News, Disney Cruise Line confirming the rescue of 2 of their guests, saying, "We commend our crew members for the exceptional skills and prompt actions, which ensured the safe return of both guests within minutes."
The response was just amazing. Amazing.
More than 30 million people go on cruises every year. During a 10-year period, 212 people went overboard from cruise ships worldwide. Just 48 were rescued. By law, cruise ships must have rails that are 42 inches or higher.
I'm just glad they're safe.
Tonight, the child and rescuer's conditions are unknown, but those on board calling it nothing short of a miracle.
Such a sigh of relief. I mean, it's a parent's biggest nightmare.
George, you said it there in your report. It is so hard to survive these types of accidents. Do we know how long the pair were in the water?
Tom, passengers telling us the ship was still slowly moving when the girl went over. Passengers also telling us the entire operation between the time the girl went over and they were rescued took about 15 to 20 minutes. Tom?
George Solis for us tonight. George, we thank you. Now to the battle over President Trump's so-called big, beautiful bill. Elon Musk once again slamming it. Ryan Nobles is tracking all the developments for us from the Hill. And Ryan, Democrats are also pulling out all the stops tonight to try and delay it.
That's right, Tom. Democrats are offering up a series of amendments to try and slow this process down. But ultimately, it will be up to Republicans to come up with the votes to move this bill closer to President Trump's desk. Tonight, Senate Republicans dashing to deliver President Trump's big, beautiful bill to his desk by July 4th.
This is the most momentous legislation of my lifetime. This is going to be the largest tax cut for Americans in our history.
But Democrats looking to delay it with a so-called vote-a-rama on amendments likely to be voted down. How do you feel about the process so far?
Well, now there's going to be a lot of amendments. And ultimately, I'm going to vote no.
And now new criticism from a familiar foe. Elon Musk, who previously apologized for unleashing personal insults against President Trump, tonight slamming the Porky Pig Party for insane spending and threatening anyone will lose their primary next year if they support it. The White House says Musk is opposing the bill because it takes away electric vehicle tax credits that help his company Tesla.
I haven't spoken to him much. But I think Elon is a wonderful guy, and electric vehicle mandate, the EV mandate is a tough thing for him.
The bill delivers on many of President Trump's campaign promises, including extending the Trump tax cuts and giving billions of dollars for border security, as well as eliminating tax on tips and overtime. But it also makes changes to Medicaid, including imposing work requirements to get benefits. North Carolina Republican Tom Tillis opposing it.
What do I tell 663,000 people in 2 years or 3 years when President Trump breaks his promise by pushing them off of Medicaid?
President Trump said he would support a primary challenge for Tillis, who then abruptly announced he would not run for re-election. The president calling that great news. Do you think there's going to be a lot of changes to the bill over the course of this vote-a-rama?
I don't. I think that there are some improvements and some clarifications that will need to be made. It's the best product that you can produce with the votes you can get.
Most Republicans believe that once Trump makes it clear he wants it done, the votes will come fast. Is President Trump able to come in and close the deal?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's the closer.
Okay, let's pick up right there, Ryan. Could this last-minute criticism from Elon Musk you mentioned there in the report derail this bill?
Tom, it's unlikely that it will sway any votes in the Senate, but this identical bill still needs to pass the House, and there are a number of skeptical Republicans where Elon Musk could have an impact. Ultimately, though, GOP leaders believe that this bill will ultimately pass. Tom.
Ryan Nobles with that relentless back and forth. Ryan, we thank you. Overseas now to the war between Israel and Hamas and the deadly strike on a cafe in Gaza. Plus, we have late-breaking developments on those U.S. efforts for a ceasefire. Matt Bradley is in Israel for us tonight.
Tonight, smoke rising near a Gaza beach and chaos inside these tents, a seaside cafe where the Hamas-run health ministry says at least 30 people, including women and children, were killed after an Israeli strike. All I could see was blood, this witness says. The IDF saying it was targeting Hamas, that it takes steps to mitigate the risk of harming civilians, and the incident is under review. Meanwhile, video circulating online showing this young man tossed from his bike a few days ago by debris after a strike. He survived. All of it as Israel's military sharpens its focus on its war against Hamas in Gaza. The IDF announcing it killed a top Hamas leader, saying he was one of the few surviving masterminds of the October 7th attacks. Meanwhile, after achieving a ceasefire between Israel and Iran, President Trump predicting a ceasefire in Gaza within the next week. For Israelis like Laron Berman, whose twin brothers Gali and Ziv have been held captive by Hamas for nearly 21 months, talk of peace brings hope. President Trump says that there's going to be a deal very soon. Do you believe him?
I want to believe him. I can't be pessimistic. I can't for the sake of my brothers.
But he tells us he's been disappointed so many times before. Tonight, a Trump administration official confirms that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will meet President Trump at the White House next Monday. Tom?
Matt Bradley for us. When we return, the big news in the Diddy trial, what the jury told the judge moments after they started to deliberate. That's next. Now to the dramatic first day of deliberations in Sean Diddy Combs' federal trial. Not long after jurors got the case, they sent a note to the judge saying there was a problem with one of its members. Chloe Malas picks it up from there.
Only about an hour after the case of Sean Diddy Combs was turned over to the jury, already a potential wild card in the deliberation room. The jury delivering a note to the judge saying one juror is not following instructions. He's a 51-year-old scientist with a PhD.
It was unclear whether or not there was a concern about following the legal instructions or the other instructions about how to approach the case.
Is it too late to replace a juror?
It's not. The judge can, but it would be a big deal once deliberations start.
The case is complex and sprawling. Combs charged with 5 federal counts, including racketeering, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution. In this courthouse, 8 men and 4 women are sifting through 7 weeks of testimony from 34 witnesses as media from all over the world await a verdict. As jurors began deliberating in the courtroom, Combs' family joined hands and prayed. Prosecutors allege Combs ran a criminal enterprise, wielding his power to have employees carry out illegal activity on his behalf. They also argued that he used violence, drugs, and threats of blackmail to coerce former girlfriends Cassie Ventura and another referred to only as Jane to have sex with male escorts while he watched. In contrast, the defense not calling any witnesses, resting their case in 30 minutes. Combs declined to take the stand. But in closing arguments, his lead attorney, Mark Agnifilo, said all sexual encounters were consensual, saying Combs had a swingers lifestyle. Agnifilo also arguing that this video of Combs beating Ventura at a Los Angeles hotel in 2016 is evidence of domestic violence, not sex trafficking, going so far as to call their relationship a great modern love story.
Tom, Combs' demeanor really seemed to shift throughout the day. At one point, he showed the cover of 2 books, one being The Power of Positive Thinking, the other, The Happiness Advantage. But when another jury note came in about transportation of drugs, his mood seemed to be a bit more somber. Tom?
Chloe Malas, we thank you. When we come back, the wildfires driving evacuations in Southern California as fire season gets hotter. And gone in less than 60 seconds, why Caitlin Clark's basketball shoe drop is hotter than the Indiana fever. That's next. We are back now with a tragic update following that firebombing attack on peaceful protesters in Colorado. We've learned one of the demonstrators, Karen Diamond, has died after this Molotov cocktail attack 1 month ago in Boulder. Diamond, who was in her 80s, was among 13 people injured while protesting the detention of Israeli hostages by Hamas. The suspect, Mohammed Soliman, is now charged with first-degree murder. We're also following wildfires spreading through Southern California. Hundreds of firefighters now battling the Wolf Fire in Riverside County, located southeast of Los Angeles, covering more than 2,400 acres right now. Evacuation orders expanding as the fires are growing closer to homes. It is now just 10% contained. In sports, Caitlin Clark dominating on the court and now also in the sneaker game. The new Caitlin Clark X Zoom Kobe 5 Indiana Fevers sold out in minutes. They are already selling for nearly $1,000 on the resale market. It comes on the same day the WNBA announced a historic expansion of 3 new teams by 2030. New teams in Cleveland, Detroit, and Philadelphia will join the league. When we come back, the AI revolution as robots take over the soccer pitch. Stay with us. Finally, there's good news tonight, and it may make you laugh. A one-of-a-kind soccer match made up entirely of robots. The technology is advanced. As for their skills, we'll let you be the judge.
With fans in the stands, a first for the sports world. China is calling this the first 3-on-3 humanoid robot soccer match. But Messi and Ronaldo don't have much to worry about. These athletes seem to putt around, excel in face plants, and headbutting one another. Some even had to be carried off the pitch. But it's not the athletic play that is world class, it's the technology. China claims all these robots are AI-driven without human intervention, programmed to do push-ups, walk uphill, and withstand a straight shot to the chest. Even designed to stand up after falling, equipped with sensors to help find the ball and navigate the field. Sort of. College teams reportedly built the robots, with one taking home a trophy after scoring the most goals. The World Cup? It's not. But for one Chinese college, glory in the Robo Cup.
I'll stick to real soccer. That's Nightly News for this Monday. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Tom Llamas. Tonight and always, we're here for you. Good night. We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.